We spoke to Avanade's Graham Healy about the steps companies should be taking now as they emerge from a COVID-19 situation. So Graham, what do you see as the kind of key challenges that are facing companies emerging from the COVID-19 situation?
Yeah, so I think depending on the industry, the challenges can be different, but thematically there are probably, I would say, 5 key challenges that I'm seeing across a number of organisations, or the organisations we deal with in Ireland and also across Europe, that we see as Avanade. The first is change readiness, right? So, the ability and the willingness of an organisation to change and change quickly and bring its people, if you like, its employees and even its customers on that journey. The second is more around resilience and flexibility of the organisational infrastructure to be able to deal with, I think, as we move into the next phases of COVID, etc., that mixed working environment, part remote and part on site, etc., which looks to be what will be the case for in due course. And then the last 3 really, I guess, are an ability to collaborate effectively. We're all, I guess, as humans, very much used to that in-person interaction, and now the interactions are much like what we're having now, over video, over calls, etc. And that blurred line, if you like, between the private and the professional life. So an ability to collaborate effectively. Then the final 2 really, I guess, are maintaining high levels of customer service. In the initial reaction, if you like, to COVID-19, I think customers were okay with companies having, let's say, a poorer or haphazard, let's say, customer service. But as time goes on, I think patience will wear thin from that customer base. So really it is about how do you maintain that high level of customer service, whether it be a contact centre, when people are working remotely in different locations, and keeping those standards up, avoiding whether it's queues or wait times, and that, because that will affect the brand and the effectively the sales of organisations as time goes by. And finally is an efficient supply chain. If you can't get your products, if you like, out the door because you can't get the core ingredients, if you like, for those products.
So what then do you think are the key steps for companies that are emerging from the COVID-19 situation?
The key thing is for companies to rethink their business, right? How are they responding to the crisis? How are they resetting their organisation? And how are they going to renew in due course? There's 3, if you like, macro thematic steps that I would look for companies to undertake. One is keep your foot on the pedal. Most companies have implemented more change in weeks and months than they would normally do in years, and really use this opportunity to extend that change and to continue with it. Secondly is to do it in a no regrets manner. So make sure it's secure. Looking at things like data compliance, managing the perimeter of your security, your secure online collaboration with both your customers and your employees. So that is really critical, so you don't have to do a 2-step approach to security. And thirdly then, as always, and more persistently and with more focus, prioritise your customer and employee experience. And that's going to require an omni-channel approach.
So are there any kind of critical skills that will be important to workforces coming out of COVID-19?
From an IT perspective, it's really an acceleration of the old world of on-premise technology and on-premise employees to cloud and a mixed employee environment, both virtual and physical. And this really needs an evergreen mindset. So digital transformation skills prior was you would go through your digital transformation and then move into business as usual. Where this is evergreen, it's going to be constant sprints of transformation. From a more general perspective, I would say the skills that are needed relate to an ability to work with ambiguity, and an ability to adapt quickly to fluid situations. Change happens, it will continue to happen, so we need to anticipate it, monitor it, adapt to it, and ultimately enjoy it, and be willing to embrace the fact that it is ever constant.
So Graham, for leaders that are a little bit nervous about the road ahead, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Ultimately, it's about grabbing the nettle, right? Otherwise, you're going to leave everything to chance. Have a clear vision, whether that be an IT vision or a more strategic business vision, and most importantly, execute on that vision. The technologies are there and they exist and they are there to enable that transformation, but it's primarily about the will of the organisation to transform and to bring its people and its customers on that change journey. So really it is much people activity as it is much technology activity.
Thanks a million, Graham, for your time today.
You're welcome, Lisa. It was a pleasure.